So now I want to take a quick reflection back on some of the COPD scenarios I've had during the semester. So to take a quick description of what happened, I'm going to be using Gibbs model reflection as I have with the other scenarios. So describing what happened. So I clearly remember I only had this a couple of times during the semester, and both times it was a male in his sort of mid to late 40s, and approaching the house, and they were on supplemental oxygen themselves. And because it was still quite early on, it was quite obvious that it was, we were told that they were previous history of smoking quite heavily. They have a history of emphysema or bronchitis. I think one had one and one had the other one. And yeah, it's quite, they made it quite deliberate as to it is a COPD exacerbation. That's what I was there to treat. So, feelings, what I was thinking and feeling at the time. Definitely remember thinking at one point during my first COPD patient, there must be something else for me to do. It was about just over 10 minutes into the scenario. I had given them their asthma. Sorry, not their asthma. I had given them their treatment as if it was asthma, as the guideline says. So to make sure if it is a COPD exacerbation, once that has been confirmed through history taking and a thorough vital signs survey, had determined that it was asthma, definitely, and then treated via bronchospasm due to the wheeze that was still being heard. So the wheeze obviously is treated with the Atrovent and salbutamol. So I did that, and clearly remember the wheeze, clearing up, and then thinking, well, what am I supposed to do now? I've got a relatively healthy patient in front of me, and I can't think of what's the next step I should take other than reassessment. What was good about the experience was definitely that I feel like I got through the guideline quite thoroughly, and that I ticked everything off. So took a very thorough history and got an idea about how long they had COPD for and what was the reason. Did they have emphysema? Did they have bronchitis? So get a really detailed history of that. So I did that quite well, because it's quite a calm situation we had both times I did it, because it's an exacerbation of their COPD, but there's no immediate, oh, I can't breathe, you need to help me right now, that you get with severe asthma or severe respiratory distress or adult respiratory distress syndrome. So it is quite a calm situation to be in. Well, at least it was in scenarios, and so I think that means that both times I've had it, I really got through my things really well, and was able to fully stick to my systematic approach. But what was not great the first time I did it was when delivering the oxygen. So their sats were at 89 or 88, so it was high 80s. It wasn't far off what we want to target at 90%, and I did know that it was 90% that we were targeting, as we do with COPD patients, because we don't want to remove that stimulus to breathe, because they have hypoxic drive rather than a hypocapnic or hypocapnic drive, so they're not using CO2. Was I put them on 8 litres per minute via the Hudson mask. So, obviously that was, looking back, the wrong choice, because if they're quite high 80 sats, we only want to get them up a bit. Plus, like I said, we don't want to remove that drive to breathe. So I did give them that Hudson mask in the 8 litres. In hindsight, obviously a much better choice to use would have just been low flow oxygen via the nasal prongs, which is what they're most likely to be on at home anyway. So that would have been obviously the 3 litre per minute valve, and maybe giving it, as I said, via nasal prongs. So that would have been much better experience to have. So what sense can make of the situation, I guess, with COPD, because it is quite, like I said, it's quite a calm scenario to be in scenario land that we've had this semester. It's really just about having to think about what is going on with this patient's situation, where are they at in terms of the pathophysiology behind COPD, and that it is a chronic condition. So they live with this every day, so they might not be as distressed as you might think with an exacerbation of it, depending on how frequent it is, and obviously based on the personality. So really it gives you time to think and analyse the situation, and obviously once you think behind that, you don't want the patient to exert themselves. So I didn't specifically know that going into my first COPD scenario, but did not get them to walk to the car, and we put them on the stretcher and took them, because I clearly, was thinking about COPD and was thinking, we really don't want this patient to exert themselves if they are having an exacerbation of their COPD. So really that, was a good example of how I was actually able to make sense of the situation. What else could I have done? Like I said, definitely could have given via the nasal prongs and the low flow oxygen, and also be a bit more confident, because as I said back in the feelings section of the reflection, getting to the point where I was thinking, all right, I've treated it as per asthma, I've got improvement. Where am I at? I feel like I should be doing something really important that I'm forgetting, or I'm forgetting that one treatment that's going to save this person's life, sort of feeling. So could have definitely just been more confident in the fact that, all right, I've treated that and I'm happy with that. I'm going to go back to the start and I'm going to reassess and we'll see where we're at again. So I definitely could have been more confident with that, and I think I am now, and I will continue to be in the future. And if it was to arise again, we'll put in the low flow oxygen, be more confident, stick to my critical approach I've developed, and definitely would result in better outcomes for the patients, because I don't think I struggle too much with picking up COPD as far as both the pathophysiology, the principles behind management, the treatment, and the drugs involved. So I think I have developed a critical approach that really helps me to manage such a patient in an effective way.